Is liberty dying where you live? Escape to Keene at freekeene.com.
Mark? I'm going to go to Crosswalk. Sorry, I tell you, that's my call to fame. I am the butcher of names. And
I'm well used to it by now. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mark A. Crossmall. I'm currently serving as chairman of the board of directors of Londonderry Fish and Game Club. We boast a membership in excess of 1,500, not including spouses, significant others, and family members. And I appear before you today in strident opposition to this bill. We see this as nothing more than a wholesale felonization of gun owners within the state. Many of the points I would have made, Representative Vitzi and Representative Hull have already made. I won't bother to repeat them. Much has been made about retailers that sell alcohol. One part that stood up for me was the bit with medical supplies, which, if you read through the bill, includes the very famous passage of "but not necessarily limited to," which is wide open for, say you purchase gasoline, you go in to pay. Maybe they don't sell alcohol of any sort. But what if they have a box of lip balm or a box of Band-Aids? It's not limited as far as medical supplies. It doesn't say what medical supplies or what they might cost. So, based simply on that alone, and all previously mentioned codicils of this bill, we are very much opposed to it. And with that, I will take any questions that you might have.
thank you. I see no questions. Thank you very much for your time. If we keep moving at this rate, we might get all of them done.
Oh, sorry, I was busy talking.
That's what I thought. I thought I caught it, but I wasn't sure. That's what I asked.
Sorry, Mitch Kopaz, Gun Owners New Hampshire. I also represent Pelham Fish and Game, and for those who don't know, Gun Owners New Hampshire is the NRA affiliate of Fish and New Hampshire. We ask you to please IPL this bill. This, once again, is, I find this offensive that sponsors feel that gun owners, when they're around liquor, are going to act like Yosemite Sam and start shooting the place up. When they go to vote, they can't be trusted to vote properly and exercise their rights properly. This is a gun ban for everywhere except in your home. And oh, by the way, if you happen to go to a place that sells liquor when you're buying gas and you don't know it, you become a felon. So it's a gun ban for life for everybody. This is just an intrusive bill. I can't go to the doctor's office, can't go to the drugstore, can't buy gas, can't go to Walmart, can't buy groceries and protect myself. I find this offensive. Please, just to solve the problem with this bill, please IPL. Anybody have any questions?
Seeing none?
That was easy.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, Stephanie?
That's me.
I just would like to point out for everybody's attention, of all the cards I have, the only one that was in favor of the bill was the public sponsor. So, if we can just kind of move along. Because I think I know where this is going.
My turn?
Yep.
My name's Steve Stefanik. I'm back again. Never ending. I'm from Manchester, New Hampshire, born and raised there. That's Hillsborough, District 18. I'm opposed to this bill, and I'm going to take a different tact. I don't even want to talk or consider any ability to violate the constitutional rights of free American citizens. I'm going to read you a few brief quotes. I'll play a little game here. See if you can think in your minds. Who said this? The laws that forbid the carrying of arms are laws of such a nature that they disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws may make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailant. They serve rather to encourage rather than to prevent homicides. For an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. Who said that? Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States. The Constitution of most of our states and of the United States assert that all power is inherent in the people. They may exercise it by themselves, that it is their right and duty to be armed at all times. Who said that? Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States. In the interest of time, I'm going to give us all a break, and I'm going to read some really important ones. The supposed quietude of a man lures the ruffian, while on the other hand, arms, like the law, discourage and keep the invader and the plunderer in awe, and preserve order in the world as well as property. The balance of power is the scale of peace. The same balance would be preserved were all the world destitute of arms, for all would be alike. But since some will not, others dare not lay them aside. And while a single nation refuses to lay them down, it is proper that he should keep them up. Horrid mischief would ensue were one half of the world deprived of the use of them. And for avarice and ambition have a place in the heart of man. The weak will become the prey to the strong. The history of every age and nation establishes these truths, and facts need but little arguments when they prove themselves. Thomas Paine, in Thoughts of Defense. And finally, the Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceful citizens from keeping and bearing their own arms. Samuel Adams, Massachusetts. I'm going to relate a real-life scenario. Most of us, has been mentioned by a few other people, stop at convenience stores on the way home. You walk in to pay, and there's a woman in front of you. Her name is Mrs. Rogers. And in bursts a gentleman who walks up to the counter and pulls out a firearm and grabs Miss Rogers by the throat from behind. And I'm standing behind Miss Rogers, and I've got a gun concealed in my back pocket. With this bill, do you think I'm pulling that gun out and possibly self-incriminating myself to a Class B felony? I'm not. I'm going to let the guy shoot Miss Rogers. Thank you. Any questions?
Representative Pentelakis.
Ms. Pentelakis.
Yes, Pentelakis.
Pentelakis. I'm not Greek. I'm Polish.
I just would ask you if you would walk into a store carrying your firearm if they had a sign on it, no guns.
I wouldn't go in that store. I'd do my business elsewhere. And that's what I
You're
do.
doing a lot of business elsewhere.
No, sir. More stores than not allow you to walk in with a firearm. Only the very few idiots, like Starbucks, don't. I don't. I drink Dunkin' Donuts.
Bad. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Thank
Why
you
do I have
very
to keep
much.
coming here?
Roy Sargent.
I hope you'll be back again next year.
I will, as long as there's breath in my body.
I'll keep it a lot shorter than my actual testimony. This is going to be to death anyway. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee, my name is Roy Sargent. I come here before you today to oppose this bill. I've lived in New Hampshire my entire life. In fact, I'm the 9th generation of my family to live here. The first one who came here died in the revolution fighting to get us our freedoms. I find it insulting to our ancestors that we're going to keep trying to take away rights from people today. All across the country right now, you've got sheriffs calling and telling their people, arm yourselves, be prepared to defend yourselves. And in New Hampshire, where we've always had that, we're suddenly taking the stance that we want to further limit rights. It just doesn't make any sense. This bill should be found inexpedient to legislate. That's it.
Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you very
Let's
much.
get through this stuff.
We're moving right along.
Because everyone's opposed.
Ryan Blacken, is it correct?
I just want to touch base on just some of the letters here. Letter A, where medical services are provided. As a former police officer and a detective for a pharmaceutical chain, it was actually preferred that firearms legally were on the premise because of the value of the drugs and so forth. And especially today, when you're going to pick up your prescriptions, if you're picking up certain prescriptions, you're talking on street value, thousands of dollars, and you're an instant victim if somebody wants to rob you. If you can't defend yourself or somebody else, that in and of itself is ridiculous. Letter B, this basically would prohibit you from going out to lunch, even if you don't drink, just by having a firearm. Ms. Rogers had a problem with a polling place. Most people, I don't believe, are gonna go into a place unless they're concealed carrying anyway, and nobody would even know that they were carrying, so I don't see the problem with that. Houses of public worship, as a matter of fact, in my church, people carry. They're asked to carry, there's a security plan in place, and even the pastors carry. So there should be no issue with that whatsoever for anybody. And I think this is the Class B felony is basically a target against the firearms owners, responsible firearms owners, especially when the current laws we have now aren't even applied properly. Just recently we had a firearm stolen in Manchester, and the person got 9 months probation for a stolen firearm. That in and of itself is ridiculous. We're trying to give responsible gun owners a Class B felony, and somebody steals a firearm from the National Guard Armory and they get 9 months probation. It's just lunacy. Thank you.
Assume there's no question. Thank you very much. William Anderson.
Welcome. Bill Anderson, Laconia, New Hampshire. I'll be very brief. I oppose this bill. I feel it hinders my Second Amendment rights from protecting myself and my family. It makes absolutely no sense, and I don't see how anybody could even come up with something that is unconstitutional as this is. I'll get that.
Any questions? Seeing none. Raymond Oliver.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Raymond Olivier. I'm from Pembroke, New Hampshire, and I'll be very brief. I'm a 24+ year veteran of the United States Armed Forces, and I think this bill, I oppose this bill strongly because all this bill does to me, and in military terms, is create target-rich environments. You look at all the mass shootings, and Ms. Rogers, you know, you alluded to that. They're all done in gun-free zones. So, to me, creating more gun-free zones, that's you know, myself, if I was a criminal, that's where I'd want to go commit my crime. Nobody's shooting back at me. And the thing about this is, I'm an avid pool player. I play pool, many clubs in Manchester. They all sell liquor. I don't drink. And I think to, you know, limit my carry to those places because they sell alcohol, that's like, well, you can't drive your car if you drink alcohol because you're a potential OUI. You know, it's up to the individual to make that choice, and you know that's my position on this. Thank you very much.
No questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Tatro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is John Thuriel from Keene, New Hampshire.
Just thanks for another.
It's all right.
I got a good record there.
If you're north of here, it's Terrio, but south is, anyway. I am a veteran. I'm a member of Cheshire County Fish and Game. I'm a concealed carry permit holder, and I'm here to speak in opposition to Bill 1657. You've heard a lot of people talk about our constitutional rights, but let me talk about a document that's older than the U.S. Constitution, that's more fundamental to the citizens and legislatures of the state of New Hampshire. That is the New Hampshire Constitution Bill of Rights, adopted in 1783, which says in item 2A, all persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, their families, their property, and the state. I would urge you that 1657 is unconstitutional, and according to Representative Flanagan, who used to be the majority leader of the House, that's his #1 criteria of whether a bill should go forward or not. Is it constitutional? This one is not, and it should be voted and expedient to legislate.
I See no questions. Thank you very much. Evelyn Logan.
Back to the basics, we've been discussing this. It's unconstitutional.
Evelyn Logan, Rochester, New Hampshire. I'm here speaking on my own behalf. Good afternoon, and thank you for hearing us today. Since most of my testimony has already been said by other people, I will just skip that part and I'll email you what's left. As he said, the first test for a bill or a law is it constitutional? This is not. This is an end run around the Constitution, including the oath of office. There is a way to change the Constitution. This is not it. Skip that part, skip that part, skip that part. Does it serve a need in this community or state? This is one of the safest states in the country. We don't need this. It violates personal property, private rights, all of that. We do not need this bill. On a personal note, I'm a rape survivor. I was raped in a large airport, in a large city, in a large state that is very difficult to carry firearms. About 5 or 6 years later, in my home state of Texas, I was a rape attempt survivor. That time, I was armed. I do not wish to be disarmed again. This bill would accomplish that. I'm definitely against that. My grandfather had a drugstore during the time when there were outlaws in Oklahoma. He had a shotgun by the narcotics safe and a handgun on his hip. Other drugstores in the area were robbed. He never was. His father was a doctor in Tennessee. When he had to go out in the country on house calls, he carried a gun. He was never robbed. Other doctors were. I beg you to ITL this bill as not only unnecessary, but illegal.
Thank you. Is your testimony? No question.
Thank you.
Well, I know it's Gagnon.
That must be me. That must be me. I spoke this morning in favor of one bill, and I'm speaking this afternoon as opposed to this bill. My testimony again has been given by a lot of people. I'll just say that gun-free zones have only proven effective for the deranged or a potential terrorist to perform their deadly attacks without fear of repercussions. The false idea that police will defend your life is unrealistic. The Supreme Court has ruled that that is not their function. Their function is not to protect the individual, but to protect society as a whole. They are not obligated to put their life on the line to protect us. Also, this bill would make it illegal for the police to carry their weapons in such establishments, whether on duty or off. It makes no provisions, such as Governor Cuomo in New York did when he said, oh, you can't carry more than 10 rounds. Well, that limited the police who carried 15. The impression that gun-free zones are safer is false. Take Aurora, Colorado theater. The only gun-free theater out of 7 in that area. 12 killed, 58 wounded before the police could arrive. Newtown, Connecticut, Sandy Hook Elementary School. 26 dead, 20 children, 6 stabbed by a lone gunman before the police could arrive. And Connecticut has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. And it did Newtown no good to protect the children. Virginia Tech, April 2007, 33 dead, 15 wounded by a lone gunman, and I hold the institution complicit in most of those deaths. Because the first shooting was reported to the college at 7:05 that morning, but the college didn't report it to the authorities until after 9 o'clock that morning. So colleges did not want anybody to know about that. Okay, lately, and probably a I and probably most of you have heard a certain political candidate, I won't mention her name, say the epidemic of gun violence in our country. She fails to say this gun violence takes place mostly in Chicago, Detroit, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, among other big cities that have restrictive gun laws. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, and I've also asked this of Senator, Arizona.
Kevin Giffords?
No, not Giffords.
Mark Kelly?
McCain. I asked this question of him. Now, this is my opinion. The fact that all legislators, and I don't only mean state, but I mean federal, take an oath of office. And that oath of office usually involves protecting and defending the Constitution, whether it's a state constitution or federal. They violate that oath of office by proposing a bill such as the one we're talking about here that erodes protections of said Constitution should be removed for office for violation of such oath. I'd like to see some legislator put that on the agenda, because this would end all these hearings about guns. If a legislator thought that his office was going to be eliminated because of proposing stupidity like this, it would sure cut down the size of the legislature. I also feel that gun-free zones, such as schools, and I mentioned them this morning for those that weren't here, medical facilities, including the VA Medical Center, are in violation of the Constitution, as are all state gun laws here and around the country, unconstitutional as they violate the rights of the citizenry to self-protection. Now, the Supreme Court says, yes, we can keep guns, we can carry guns, but with restriction. Supreme Court lied. There is no restriction in the Second Amendment. Shall not be infringed is the wording. There is nothing about restrictions. This bill destroys the rights and protections I have fought for by wearing the uniform of this nation for 11 years. And I will not willingly allow any politician or bureaucrat to take these rights away from me or any other citizen. Thank you very much.
I see no questions.
I assume that if the terrorists wanted to kill a lot of people, that the Democratic delegation that's about to meet this summer would be a terrorist area? It'd be a gun-free zone?
Would it be a gun-free zone? I don't know what their policy is, but if they make it a gun-free zone, it would be a very good target for terrorists.
Thank you.
Very good target.
I see no more questions. Donald Avery.
They have secrets, sir.
Sirs, this is my first time ever down here. I'm glad I'm not going first, because I wouldn't know where to start with this bill. A couple things that haven't been touched on too much. I go to a church where the pastor and the board want me to care. And at the very, very least, it is the Senate. I would think that if any semblance of this bill, if this bill is not 100% scrapped and thrown out the window, I would think that it would at least be left open to like the individual church as to whether or not they would want to have any guns on their service or not. With the national concealed carry, you know, it's just an absolute win-win for everybody. I will cut this short.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Westcott. Want me to break it?
It's new. That's the problem. My 6-year-old one died on me. I had to get another one. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is John Westcott, speaking on behalf of myself. I moved to New Hampshire in 2013. For me, there were many reasons to make the move to the Granite State, but the deciding factor was the freedom enjoyed by the citizenry and the liberties in which I too could share. I've been a proud citizen of New Hampshire almost 3 years now, but today I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed because the same freedoms that drew me here are under attack. I'm ashamed that some of our elected officials have sponsored such a vile bill. And I'm ashamed that I have to be here today to educate these misguided officials to the fact that there's already a bill that outlaws today's proposed monstrosity. It's called the Bill of Rights. It is so called because the ideas penned on that glorious document are recognized as rights endowed by our Creator, not by man, not by elected officials, not by bureaucrats, and not by fearmongers. The sponsors of this sickening piece of legislation put before us now would seek to make felons of law-abiding citizens for exercising our rights in hospitals, places that serve alcohol, polling places, churches, and entertainment venues that hold more than 5,000 people, to name a few. Consider this: your right to free speech still exists inside the walls of a hospital. Your right to be free from unreasonable warrantless searches doesn't vanish when you vote at the polls. You aren't subjected to cruel and unusual punishment simply because you visit an entertainment venue that holds more than 5,000 people. One might say that even now I'm petitioning my government for redress of grievances. Should I be expected to be jailed in retaliation? No, for this is an act also protected by the Bill of Rights. If any of these statements were untrue, wouldn't that sound a lot like your rights being violated? Wouldn't that sound an awful lot like your rights being infringed? Contrary to what the sponsors of this proposed bill would have you believe, the Second Amendment doesn't say the state-granted privileges of approved persons to keep arms locked up in their house may be watered down or revoked at the discretion of the state. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment is ironclad. It is an unflinching decree. My right to arm myself against threats and to defend my life and the lives of my loved ones does not end at the threshold of a hospital or at the doorstep of a house of God. My right to defend myself keeps me out of a hospital and is ordained by God. It doesn't matter if you hate the idea of an armed citizenry. It doesn't matter if gun control seems like a popular concept or if it's something you wish to do simply because you don't know what to do. What matters is that it flies in the face of the United States Constitution. What matters is that this proposed legislation is illegal. And if you don't like it, there is a legal process afforded to you. You are perfectly entitled to set your energies fruitlessly on repealing the Second Amendment. You are not, however, entitled to create empty, backsliding illegal laws. And so until such a time as the government is deemed more supreme than our Creator, capable of revoking our God-given rights, the government must follow the letter of the laws that is currently set forth. I entreat you to do the right thing. Honor your oaths, honor the citizenry, honor the Constitution. Throw this bill in the trash where it belongs. Thank you.
I don't see any further questions. Thank you very much, sir. Penny Dean. You say 5 minutes, I'm going to hold you to it, because I got one more card after you, and I'd like to get this thing done.
You held to 5 minutes?
Yes, well, that's what you put down, and that's what I'm going to hold you to.
I always thought we could modify contracts at any time. I'm going to make this really simple. Unless you guys plan on raising whole piles of money, this is one of the best full employment laws for lawyers I've ever seen.
Exactly.
Because the bottom line is here, I don't think you can tell a private doctor at his private office that he can't carry a firearm. I think you guys have got some real constitutional problems here. Some real property rights problems and a bunch of other problems. In addition to the fact I'm morally opposed to all of this, it should be IPL'd on its face. But if you put that aside, as a practical matter, you probably need about $1 billion budget next year just for your legal services for, I can't imagine, pharmacists, doctors, all sorts of people would like their life put at risk. And that's what you'd be doing here. You know, a guy who owns a pharmacist now can't carry a firearm on his own property. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of druggies out there that like the things he carries. You know,
I mean, besides the gun.
They might take that, you know. But the bottom line is, as a practical matter, it really is offensive to say that, you know, a doctor in his own facility can't carry a firearm. You're saying that a priest at his own place can't carry a firearm. The nuns can't carry firearms. You know, that's just a horrible thing when you think about it. It is one of the most offensive bills I've seen. So, you know, in addition to the moral offense that really comes with this, you have to look at the legal problems. And I got to tell you, doctors, even though they're sure as heck making less money than they used to, have a few dollars. And I bet you that you're going to find more doctors in every town and more pharmacists in every town and private business people that are going to say, I'll hire a lawyer and fight him, because this is just plain crazy. You know, it's just plain crazy. And I think the problem in polling places and stuff, you know, people that wear too much cologne make me uncomfortable. Should I go down and spray people with water hoses? People that do certain things, you know, make me uncomfortable. I'm sorry if someone's uncomfortable by firearms, you know, but you can't change how people feel. And really, that's their problem, not your problem. We can't make it our problem. If someone's afraid of firearms, just the mere fact. You know, I'm 5'6", I'm afraid of 6'6" men, so we all gotta cut them off, so I'm not afraid of them. You know, it's just, it's that type of thing. There's not a rational basis behind that fear. And so I think we really need to look at what's this trying to do. If it's trying to get a dialogue started and ban firearms in some places rather than none of the places, I think that's wrong. You should just ITL it. You guys got a lot of work to do. You don't need to mess with it.
Bad bills.
So any questions, I'm happy to answer, but as a practical matter, I think you have some huge legalities with this.
Representative Roberts.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Being 5'6", I wonder if you'd help me write a bill to make it illegal to be 6 foot.
Yeah, because I'm afraid most of the 6 foot men intimidate me. You know, the 5'4" ones are okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's kind of keep this serious as we can.
Let's not.
I see no other questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Ian Freeman.
2 minutes.
You actually got a little time.
I'll be brief. Good afternoon, Ian Freeman, one of the co-chairmen of the New Hampshire Liberty Party, also one of the ministers of the Shire Free Church. As was pointed out, not only will this proposed law violate the right to bear arms, it'll also violate the right to property and will violate the freedom of religion. So it's pretty unconstitutional on its face. But further, I think that it's important to point out that the idea of rights are that they can't be abrogated. So if you have a right, a bunch of people in a room writing things down on paper should not be able to get rid of that right. And further, I did want to point out something. A gentleman talked to me out in the hall about my testimony earlier when I said New Hampshire was the safest of all the 50 states. He said he heard from the Gun Owners of America of Vermont, who claimed that Vermont was actually safer than New Hampshire. So I checked my claim, and if you go to Wikipedia, there's an article which sources the FBI uniform crime reports from 2010. So those are the most recent numbers available. It's actually, New Hampshire is the safest state overall for murders with 1.0 murders per 100,000 population. Vermont, second place, 1.1 murders per 100,000 population. But when you look at just gun murders, Vermont is actually number one there. So theirs is a 0.3 per 100,000 population. New Hampshire is number 2 in gun murders, a 0.4 of 100,000 population. So pretty darn close there. And so New Hampshire is actually the safest of all of the 50 states, just by a hair. And further than that, I would like to invite all of the sponsors of this legislation to leave New Hampshire. Clearly, it is not the place for those folks. There are some states very nearby that would be very welcoming to them: New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. In fact, I believe one of the sponsors, Ms. Chase, from my county, Cheshire County, is from Rhode Island originally, which has 2.8 murders per 100,000 population. So I prefer we did not go in this direction. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
I see no questions. Thank you very much. I would like to say one thing. One of the most interesting emails I received was from a lady who is 94 years old, who actually used a weapon to defend herself in, I believe it was Manchester. And she opposed this bill, and I congratulate her for taking the time not only to write, but to know how to use a computer at that age.
Oh, really? That's harder than operating
I have almost two full sheets of people who signed in. Opposed? Opposed. There is only 3 people that have signed in favor of it. And I'm just going to read their names because otherwise we're going to be here half the afternoon while I'm trying to pronounce these people. Pat Wallace from Concord supports it. Wayne Burton is a representative, and Brian Hawkins from Concord. Those are the only 3 people who have signed in. So there's only actually been a total of 4 people that have had anything to look at this bill. So I will close the hearing on House Bill 1657, and I want to thank you all for coming tonight, especially want to thank you all for being brief.
We'd like to invite you to visit freekeen.com. Freekeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. Freekeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. Freekeen.com.
I should be in Keene, New Hampshire with the Free Staters.